Good afternoon, everybody. I want to get started on this presentation really quick, and I'll try to make this video as quick as possible. This is kind of the unveiling of our exciting transformation that we've been working kind of all summer and probably a little bit into spring, from spring also, around this small innovation that will really assist in the way education is delivered and received within our institution. So we're happy about this. We're excited. The integration of this, basically this new classroom furniture, represents this kind of the step forward into promoting active learning. And not that this can't happen in other classrooms, but the idea around this is that this will allow additional flexibility and within this particular space and classroom, give us an idea of what students and faculty like around this. So, and really we're kind of pushing forward is with the active learning component, and that's where, you know, myself and John can help you a little bit. So the university is obviously taking this proactive approach to buying this classroom furniture, really designed again around that active learning methodology. So this innovation, the seating arrangements, and the workstations are carefully curated to encourage your students to collaborate, critically think, and of course have a little bit more dynamic interaction amongst themselves. So that's an important part. And so obviously this allows really around the different material and engage with the material and how the instructor wants to use that in a way that encourages a deeper understanding and retention of that knowledge, which is obviously an important part. So of course the flexibility is the big part. Is you'll see some of these tables and chairs with wheels and things like that, and I promise I'll get to the pictures soon and around that. So the new furniture not only allows for easy reconfiguration, but also promotes that inclusive learning environment that accommodates a lot of different learning preferences and physical needs. So without further ado, let's move on to the actual slide components. All right, this is the first view. This is this overhead shot. So think of this really fancy, expensive Steven Spielberg look, but only in drawing. So this is kind of the way it can look. Obviously, this is one way. This would be more of groups maybe getting together and working on things. But you can tell the furniture is and different sizes here. You know, you might put these towards the back here, and you might have them in different ranges. So this can still be in the lecture style. So before anybody worries that, hey, this is only the way this can be used in this way, absolutely not. This is just a suggestion, maybe for breaking into small groups. But obviously, it can still be the lecture style where people are facing towards the front, towards the lecture. Towards the instructor giving a lecture. So this is kind of the lecture teacher desk here, and it's also on wheels, and these things can be broken up in different things. This classroom still seats 35 students, so that was an essential component that we don't lose seats within one of our larger classrooms outside of the science lecture hall. All right, this is just a different drawing, and you can see one of the tables actually changed from the original drawing to a little bit different, but it still gives you an idea of kind of the way that room sits in L315. Some of you have taught in there, maybe you're new to the institution, and it looks, but you can see kind of the different style of this room. Again, these can be set up and placed, again, in rows where everyone is facing towards the front. All right, the actual seating, let's take a look at it. You can see there were 3 rockers off to the side, a little larger item here, and that is kind of one of the seats. There's only about 3 of those. They have the taller seats with, again, wheels. These are, I think, even either the same height or right around the same height around as these are, and so these could be towards the back. There is the flip stool, and that kind of gives some people some room to move around. But you know, obviously there was only one table with those, so if people don't like those or don't want to sit in those for the period, there should still be enough seats, especially for this semester, considering the largest classroom was 30, so that it would be still 5 seats there. So, and kind of moving on to the next slide. Here are the tables and the different finishes. You can see, again, these tables can combine to make the full circle. These can combine and make larger rectangle shapes. These can be adjustable to where people can adjust adjustable height. Excuse me, there we go. And again, we have some rolling tables. And again, all of these are more lightweight type tables that are easier to move for faculty and students. And here's some additional components just that we didn't get into the last one. You can see this is the mobile teacher workstation. This is the Modesty panel that can also be sat at this, and so if somebody sits underneath this. These are also for the taller desks that you saw in the back. Glad somebody thought of that. Excellent thinking. These are the kind of the items that you can see there. It's hard to see in this, but they are on wheels. It's not only magnetic, but it is a whiteboard, so this can be moved around the classroom in different spots depending on what the groups might be doing or what the instructor might be doing. Okay, so, well, the future, when is it going to be here? When's the expected date? Well, let's stay hopeful and positive. And really, we're looking at maybe late August, early September. We literally have no control over this, and that's kind of the way that goes. We've ordered furniture. Sure, so is so many other institutions trying to get this in and get this placed. So we'll think positive. I hope that's going to happen in early or late August, but maybe early September. So we'll keep staying positive on that. And as soon as I have a more confirmed date, I'll send an email out around that. Of course, I wanted to take the opportunity to, of course, sell our wares in Center for Teaching, Learning, and Scholarship around active learning strategies. And really, the definition of learning strategy, the way I perceive it, is really it's the way you engage learners and really around your subject matter and that deep thought process. So contrast to that is more of a passive style where students are just receiving. So you're just up in the front, more of a lecture style. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. And of course, it depends on the content. But this is, we feel like the research has told us that students not only can learn more, but can retain more over a period of time through different active learning strategies. So, and not all activities are created equal. So we know that there are some that are more just fun, kind of breaking up things, but there are some that are really get into the deep thinking around that. So I've kind of broken it up into three areas that I want to talk about today, and that's the individual, pairs, and groups. There's also things that you can do within your lectures that make things active, such as polls or things like that. So, and I'm more than happy to help anybody set those things up and think about using those in your classes. So one is the individuals, like when people kind of individually reflect and then they get into, then they maybe share or talk about what they've learned in the class and you know, maybe have questions. Pairs, working through a problem with someone else in the class. That's kind of obvious one. And then again, bringing that back to the larger group. Groups are exactly what you would maybe break them into 4 to 5 to 6, depending on, again, the size of the class, and break those clusters apart. And then again, that might be projects they're working on. It could be something they're just bringing back to the group within the same session. So I wanted to give you a few examples of individual as we get through this, and I'll give you some for pairs and groups also, as some of these are fun and some of these actually have a point and a purpose, right? So I always like the bumper sticker one, and I can't remember where I first saw this, but I was looking for examples or ones that were classics, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one. This is a good one. So, you know, ask students to write a slogan or a bumper sticker to illustrate maybe a concept from your lecture. I felt like that works for a lot of different content areas. So it could be something, hey, write a bumper sticker and share it with the group. Maybe you do that towards the end of at the end of every week. So you're like, hey, things that we went over this week, or things that I went over just for the day. It could be something along those lines. But it also could be something that, you know, you take a little deeper about in the course, you know, sum up the course in a sentence. But maybe you even vote on them per week. You ask students to post them on the discussion board, or maybe you just do it there in class with them, whichever you prefer. And then maybe you award extra credit or something along those lines, or maybe just a fist bump to the winner of the week after a vote or something along those lines, just to encourage people to do it. And that, again, gets people to start thinking about how to put that content together. Another one very similar to bumper stickers is tabloid titles, and sometimes that can be, you know, fun for people to write sensational headlines to illustrate, again, that concept being discussed in the class, and then, of course, share and choose the best. It's Muddiest Point, again, that's kind of a classic one. And you can use this in a lot of ways. I would suggest towards maybe the end of a class session to kind of sum up people's challenge around maybe confusing points. So that might be able to bring back the content to students, and maybe it could be a follow-up from you. It could be you have time in the class to discuss those. Obviously, we are trying to theme those, to put those together. It could be that you have a starting point for them, or you just have them write it down on a piece of paper, or you just have them talk in class. So there's lots of different ways to do Muddiest Point. But again, it creates that active point where you're asking students, what's the most confusing point from today or confusing point from this week? This might be the most classic active way to get people involved is think, pair, share. So you're really asking students to first individually think about maybe a problem or think about possible solutions to a problem or question. And then you pair them off into groups. The groups then work together and then share with the larger class. I like this approach, and I think it's pretty good way to get students involved with each other. But another way to kind of make this as a larger part of the group, because sometimes they might pair off with the same people over and over again. You could obviously select that yourself, maybe by using a deck of cards, or maybe do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then all the ones over here. Okay, you two together, you here. So there's ways to do that quickly in class. But also another way is that do that pair, share, and repeat. So maybe ask people to separate. Then hey, let's go find new partners. And that way it kind of forces them to work with lots of different people and hear lots of different opinions. So that's always good. So forced debate. This is, again, a classic, maybe not as classic as think, pair, share, but have students pair off into groups and have them defend opposite side of maybe their own opinion around something. Maybe you have them say, everybody that's for this, go over here, everybody that's for this, and then pair them up and have them defend the opposite. So they might even kind of surprise them with that, is like everybody together, and then you make them argue the opposite of what their opinion was. So that's always a good time. So, but also again, that could be something that you kind of go around the room and have them take different opponents. It could be that you pair up 3 and 4 people together like that. So there's lots of different ways to do that. Another classic active way to get groups and be groups involved is the jigsaw approach, where you give each a group a different topic and you basically remix those groups with planted experts on each topic. And so one suggestion that I found, and I don't remember which website it was, so I stole this idea as it's a great way to maybe go over the first day syllabus. Where you have experts that, hey, this is what you do, this paragraph, know everything about this, and then kind of start separating people off and then bring people back together and talk about what they've learned and what they know about maybe your syllabus. So it's a good way to do that. It's also a good way to get them to know you too. I like this idea. I have never done this, but I might try it the next time I teach in person, is the balloon pop. This sounds crazy, but I like it. So you basically take an inflated balloon, you put a task or problem trapped inside that balloon, and you blow that up, you tie it off. And what's better than a professor walking through the hallways with 25 balloons in tow, maybe in a bag, or walking around with them. So at the appropriate signal time, they pop their balloons and they find their problem, and it's that group component where they're solving a problem. So the only really new part of this is the balloon pop, and again, that fun, that noise, that energy that adds, what the heck is this crazy person doing with a balloon, all these balloons up front. So again, just a way to kind of get students involved and active within that class, but you're still going back to your objectives of your course, and of course what you are trying to achieve within that session. So I also want to make sure that I offer my help with any of these things. I've got hundreds of different ideas, so that would probably work in just about every content area. It's just a matter of what you want to do, and so I'm more than happy to think about maybe there's a concept or a challenge around particular things that, hey, I wouldn't mind trying to do maybe an active assignment around this for maybe 15-20 minutes in my class. It might, if you lecture maybe in the evening, or you lecture for a longer period of time, it might be a good way to break up that lecture content, is to have a quick activity around something to get people maybe even up and moving around the classroom. So I'm more than happy to help you do that. I'm more than happy to also be embedded for a course session. So I can come in and help you maybe run one of these active learning components if that you find that helpful, or make it a little easier for you to try for the first time. All right, this is the part in the presentation where you would ask me questions. Since this is just a video and I am throwing this at you, you have, of course, the freedom to email me or stop me in the hallway or come see me. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to, if I can't answer them, try to find out the answer for you. Thanks a lot for listening. I will see you around campus. See you later. Bye.